So we start with the new chapter, or you can say officially our first chapter would be the measurement system analysis. In this measurement system analysis, we try to uh, find out whether the measurement system which we have developed is serving the purpose or not. So let's start now. Measurement system analysis. We also abbreviate it as MSA. Now, when we are talking about measurement system, as I've already pointed out earlier, we are specifically not talking about a physical instrument, but we may talk about operating procedure also. An operating procedure for measurement, it could be that also. That how do you take measurement using a strain gauge, let's say. So while you are using the instrument strain gauge, there are other things also like steps. You have to clean it, and you have to arrange it in a certain way. All those things also become part of the measurement system. So we are not saying measurement instrument analysis, we are saying measurement system analysis. So all in all, we are talking about a system. Okay, so we can define it as a set of techniques that allow us to understand the questions like, if I can use a gauge. So right now we are more focused on gauge. It's not that we can't apply measurement system analysis to an measurement instrument, but by and large, we are saying it's a gauge. So if I use a gauge to measure something or inspect something, okay. So gauge slash measurement instrument for now you can say, or measurement instrument. So how can I trust these two things? I mean, if I'm using gauge or if I'm using a measurement instrument, to what extent I can trust these? Okay. So in order to have or develop trust in a measurement system, I use measurement system analysis, which is based on measurement error. Okay. Just a second. So in what ways there could be issues with respect to the performance of the instrument? The people who are doing the measurement, they could be doing the measurement in a incorrect way, or there could be a problem with the instrument. Okay, so either ways there could be a problem. So we will be focusing on both the problems in this while we are doing measurement system analysis. So we had already talked about true value and the measured value. So let's say your mean of the measured values is somewhat like this. This is the frequency of measurements, and the distribution of the measurements is somewhat like this. And this is your mean. I'm saying it is a mu. We represent it by mu. And this is the spread of the various sizes which you have measured. Okay. Then there is a term called bias of the system. So we can imagine we had measured a reference size of a known dimension that we already have, or you can say the true value for that is known a priori. So if let's say this is the
Excuse
true,
me, sir. So your voice is coming quite low.
so let's say this is the true value.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah, is it
Sir.
still less?
Yes, sir.
Actually, what happened is that yesterday the internet switch of our colony got tripped. So I'm using my mobile phone only, and the internet is not there in my chamber as well since last 2 months. So uh, I hope the voice gets clear by the time, or you can use the recording then with a larger volume later on. So there's a true value and there is a measured value. So measured value, we are representing it as mu, and the difference between these two, that term, it is being termed as bias. You can say it's a substitute for the systematic error, but the more generic name of systematic error is bias. That is, there is a bias present in the system because why this bias is there? Because of the systematic error. Okay. So this difference, what we say between the true value and the measured value, is a bias. For example, the true value is zero point 0.5, let's say. If the true value is, let's say, zero point 0.5, and the measured value of the means, or the mean of the multiple measurements that we are taking, is 0.525. Okay, so we can say it as a positive bias of 0.025. So positive bias means that it is on the higher side of the mean. The systematic error is on the higher side of the mean. That's why we say it is a positive bias. Okay. So there are two types of bias or the systematic error which can creep in. There are two factors, you can say, of bias. Two factors of bias. The two factors of bias are linearity and stability. Linearity and stability. So let's try to understand these two terms. We can say linearity is change in bias over the operating range, over the operating range of the instrument or gauge. So change in bias over the operate. That means as the operating range increases, as you move from one range to another range in the measurement of the measurement instrument, your systematic error changes. Okay, so it no longer becomes linear. Linear basically means that we can say it's somewhat like this. So if let's say we are talking temperature, okay, temperature versus the length of mercury. Hmm? So as the temperature increases, the length of the mercury increases. Okay, we say this is linear, but it might be different if the temperature range of instrument is very high. That means the range of operation of the instrument goes from 0 to 1000 degrees centigrade. So then in that case, it probably might not be linear. It might be something like this. It might be something like this. It might be something like this. We don't know that. Getting it? So what happens is every instrument is designed to operate in certain range. Just like the speedometer of your car. Generally, nowadays speedometers have what's the maximum limit in speedometers nowadays? I mean, we talk about normal cars, not the racing cars. 220, if I'm not wrong. So yeah, 220 to 240. Okay. So what does that actually indicate? It would be somewhat like this. This is a dial, speedometer, and this moves as per your acceleration, and you can say accelerate the way you are at the way you are speed. So the speed is indicated by the dial over here, and the length, the arc, it is the arc the needle is traversing will indicate the speed at which you're moving. So let's say up to 100 it's going fine. Then when you reach a speed of, let's say, 190 and up to 220, this it may not actually represent your speed, uh, real speed. There might be an error of, because of systematic error, there might be an error of 1% to 2% when it is in the range of 0 to 100. As it goes from 100 to 190, the error may increase from 2 to 4%. And if you go even further, error may be even 10% of the speed. Getting it? So you can see over here that change in bias. So here bias is changing. This is the bias, and it is changing over the operating range of the gauge. So that is linearity. Pressure, temperature, all these things can cause um, the errors because of linearity. Or it's not basically linearity, it's non-linearity, but we term it as linearity. Okay. Then the second part is yeah.
So will the random error change with the range?
See, when we are calling this thing itself as random error itself always changes. Okay, and there is a good possibility that because of more factors coming into play as you go into extreme operating conditions, the factors which were mild initially, which were I mean the randomness um, which was present initially may itself transform in a higher operating conditions or higher range of operating conditions. So we cannot generalize it right now that it's always going to happen that whenever you operate in higher range, your randomness will increase, but uh, and depending on the physical parameter and the ambient conditions, your random error may also get enhanced. Okay, so we can't say in black and white that it's going to happen or not. Okay. Then there is the second term is stability. This term is much more easier to understand, stability, because it's simply change in bias over time. Change in bias over time. So why would bias change over time? Can anyone tell? Why would it change over time? Yes, anyone?
Due
What could?
to failure of some mechanical component or
Yeah,
something.
there's a lot of wear and tear, especially if the mechanical components are involved, like gears are there, shafts are there, springs are there in the measurement system. Okay, so Mechanical components, they have a specific life. Unlike electronic components, the electronic components uh, do not degrade uniformly. An electronic component which is 100 years old is as good as new. Are you getting what I'm saying? And an electronic component which is 1 year old and another electronic component which is 100 years old, they are of equal age in a way. Electronically, they are of equal age. But for a mechanical component, it's totally different story. The electronic component, they follow exponential distribution of failure. So that basically means that they are not dependent on how much time has elapsed since it has become operational, while mechanical components are very much dependent on the time that has elapsed. Getting it? So as the time progresses, there is a wear and tear of the components inside the measuring instrument, and hence you see the bias may change over time and can increase over a period of time. Okay. So, have you seen any electronic component when you purchased and the second day or third day in a week or so it got faulty? While an electronic component, which is you must be having the oldest electronic component in the house, still working as good as it was new, right? You must have seen that. But have you seen a mechanical component? Of course, it may fail initially because of the manufacturing defects, but a perfectly manufactured, you don't see that happening in a new cars. A new car getting faulty in the initial days, especially due to mechanical reasons. But the electronic dial in a car, newly purchased car, can get faulty in the initial days. So we say stability and linearity, they govern the bias in the measuring instrument. So we can represent stability somewhat like this. If let's say this is the time axis, and this is your measured, this is your true value over here. So over a period of time, the there might be a difference coming in between the true value, and this is the time axis, you can say. And you can say, you can see the curve getting deviated away from the true value. So this is the true value. So you can see uh, that initially here the true value and the measured value are same, and as the time progresses this gap is increasing. Okay, the gap is increasing. So this is how we represent stability over a period of time. Now once we are done with the stability, we can talk about another important concept, that is repeatability and reproducibility. Repeatability and reproducibility, these are very important terms. So when one person uses the gauge, we get variation in that, and this variation is generally inherent in the gauge. So we say that is repeatability, that is it's coming because of the instrument. So we can define it as when one person uses the gauge or the instrument, we get variation. That means the same instrument is same, and the person who's doing the measurement is also same. Okay, and every time you do a measurement, it's like taking weight. Every time you take weight of yourself, you're getting a different value. Okay, so we say there's a problem in the repeatability of the instrument. Okay, and then we have the second term, which is reproducibility. So in the reproducibility, if we have more than one person using the same gauge, if more than one person uses the same gauge, the variation introduced is reproducibility. So a group of 10 people are there, and they have been asked to take measurements using a given instrument, and they do the same as they have been told, and they don't know each other's observation. So when it's like we give you a vernier caliper to your batch, and we ask all of you guys to take measurement of a standard uh, object like slip gauges. Okay, so we know the true value of the slip gauge, and you all take the measurement using vernier caliper. You write down the values, so we will be able to see the variation in the measurement. So that is called reproducibility. Okay, how good is the reproducibility of the gauge? Now, in measurement system analysis, it revolves around repeatability and reproducibility. So how do we do that? We are going to do some numericals based on repeatability and reproducibility. We call it as gauge R and R. Gauge R and R, we say it. So if we are talking about variation in the instrument, what does it mean? What does it relate to, repeatability or reproducibility? Write your answers. If I'm talking about variation in the instrument, I call it repeatability or reproducibility. Pratik says repeatability. Anyone else? Repeatability. Puneet says repeatability. Repeatability. Everyone is saying repeatability. Yes, that is right. The variation related to the measurement instrument or the gauge is related with repeatability, while the variation related with the worker is reproducibility. Okay, so let's go further and try to understand all the possible sources of process variation. Whatever variation comes, what are the how can we split the types of variations and get more clarity on this? So let's do that. So observe process variation. That means some variation which you have measured. Okay, it's easy to measure the variation. How do we measure the variation? Using standard deviation. All of you know what is standard deviation, right? So observed process variation. Then further, we can say there is an actual process variation, and there is a measurement variation. What does this mean? It means that when I'm manufacturing something, okay, so while I'm manufacturing, the factors which are relevant in a manufacturing process are causing variation. Okay, this that means it is actually happening. The variation in the dimensions is there. Okay, and another one could be there is not much variation in the dimensions, but there is a variation which is happening either because of the instrument or because of the worker in the measurement. So that is measurement variation. Is it clear? So one is actual process variation. You can attribute it to the manufacturing process, and the measurement variation you can attribute it to the measurement instrument or the worker who is involved in the measurement. So we can further break this down into few more things like actual process variation can be broken down into long-term variation, short-term process variation, and variation independent, uh, variation within sample, you can say. And then the measurement variation can further be classified into, it can also have this variation due to gauge and variation due to worker or operator.
Sir,
Okay.
is variation within sample included in both?
Yeah, actually, this type of variation is we can say it's part because of the manufacturing process it is coming. That is, uh, you make some workpiece, right? And it may have some non-uniformities in the manufacturing process, or it may while doing machining some things have happened, so that you can term it as a variation within sample. So right now we can this is a fuzzy area, so we can actually forget about this. Okay, so we these are crisp dimensions. You can long term variation could be uh, deviation of the or deterioration of the tool, you can say, or the pressure valves are there, or the mechanical components which are there which are deteriorating over a longer period, so that they are causing the variation. The short term process variation could be because of voltage fluctuation on certain time, or there is ambient change the conditions, air conditioning gone faulty, for because these things are quicker to detect and long term variations are not that quick to detect. So that's why they have been kept aside. Although from this course point of view, these two are not relevant at all. These things you are going to study in your other courses. Okay. From this course point of view, we are more concerned with these two types of variation. While the variation within the sample is an object which has been manufactured and you are doing measurement of that object. So it has been there are multiple things happening. You are doing measurement, variation is there in that. You are manufacturing, variation is there in that. So that together can cause variation in the sample. So we are not concerned about that also right now. We are only concerned about the dimensions which are pretty clearly defined, which is variation due to gauge and variation due to operator. So we can go further and classify these ahead. So variation due to gauge. So variation due to operator, anyway, we are saying it is a reproducibility. Reproducibility already been defined. Now in the variation due to gauge, there could be three different ways with which, because of which there can be variation in the gauge. So these are, one is repeatability. The second one is calibration. And the third one is stability and linearity. Third and fourth, sorry. Stability and linearity. So variation due to gauge. One is the repeatability part, which basically is an encompassing component. Why we are saying repeatability is in the same level is because, let's say, linearity and stability. Can you control linearity? Can you govern linearity? Yes. Can you take care of linearity?
Yes, sir, we can.
So how do we take care of linearity?
We can reduce the range.
Yeah. So we know we find out the stable operating range of the instrument and we operate the instrument in that range only. And how do we take care of stability?
Regular maintenance.
By doing regular maintenance, we can maintain the stability of the, by changing the parts and all. And how do we do the, can we take care of calibration? Again, regular maintenance, by knowing that in how much time the calibration gets faulty, and then we take care of it. And the fourth one is repeatability, which actually needs regular measurement. Okay. uh, Calibration, stability and linearity can be done once. That means you find out that when in how much, what is the operating range, that's it. It's a one time thing. Stability, you find out in how much time I need to do maintenance, that's one time thing, and then you keep on doing maintenance. And then the calibration, again you keep on doing the maintenance at specific time intervals, and then you keep the instrument properly calibrated. Then comes repeatability. And why does repeatability, what is the meaning of repeatability? The variation coming in the instrument besides the things which you have already taken care for. आपने linearity की take care कर ली, stability की take care कर ली, calibration की take care कर ली. Even then there may be variation, and that we attribute it to repeatability. So basically that's how it looks like. Now let me show you the complete chart. This is how your chart looks like. This is your observed process variation, and it can be further divided into actual process variation and measurement variation. Actual process variation could be long term, short term, and there could be variation in the sample. So we are not concerned about these three things right now. Further we go, measurement variation could be there because of the gauge and could be there because of the operator. Further, because of operator, we say it is reproducibility. It is measured by reproducibility. Then we have variation due to gauge, which can be because of repeatability, calibration, stability, and linearity. So with regular maintenance and proper cataloging, we can take care of calibration, stability, and linearity. At the end, what is left is repeatability. Okay. Now we continue our discussion here. So your observed process.
Sure. How do we take care of repeatability in variation due to gauge?
uh, Repeat it. So that's what we are going to measure it, and if the instrument is not found to have good repeatability or sufficient repeatability, then either we change the instrument and we declare that the instrument is not capable. Okay, we will see that. That's what the discussion is after this. So your process variation could be split into two parts: actual plus measurement system. Okay, so your sigma square measurement system is, once you have taken care of these three things, it can be sigma square repeatability, sigma square reproducibility. So that's how we measure the measurement system.
Please repeat these last 2 3 points.
Yeah. So your observed process, that is your total process variation, could be divided into two different type of variations, which is actual process variation, which we've already defined. You can see there above. And second one could be your measurement system variation or measurement variation, which we have already defined above. And further, since this course is not related to sigma square actual, this is more related with the measurement. So sigma square measurement system, that is measurement systems variance, can be further divided into sigma square repeatability and sigma square reproducibility. Okay, that is one because of the instrument and one because of the operators. But assumption over here is that we have taken care of calibration, stability, and linearity. Then only you can write this formula. Okay. So it says that the primary contributors to measurement error are repeatability and reproducibility. Okay. So is it okay till this point? Any doubts till this point? So just let me, I'll just make a quick recap of whatever we have done today. So we started talking about measurement system analysis, and we found out that there is a bias, which is an indicator of your systematic error. Bias can be defined by two factors: linearity and stability. So linearity is one thing which indicates that in a given operating range, your change in bias, the systematic error changes as your operating range changes. So then in that case, the linearity is low linearity we say. And if the instrument deteriorates over a period of time, that means the systematic error increases over a period of time, we say it has lost its stability. Okay. And then again, if give you an example for linearity using a speedometer, then also in stability, I gave you how on a time scale the stability is affected and how it changes over a period of time. Then I introduced repeatability and reproducibility, where repeatability is indicating the variation existing in an instrument, and reproducibility indicates the variation induced by the operators or the human induced variation. Then further we discussed the various types of classification. How do we classify the complete variation, the observed process variation? We classified it into actual process variation, then the measurement variation. Actual process variation could be long-term, short-term variation, and the measurement variation could be because of the gauge and the operator. Further, the variation due to gauge can be because of four things: repeatability, calibration, stability, and linearity. So one thing you can say about linearity is that whatever variation is left after you have done proper calibration, ensuring stability and linearity, that variation is repeatability. Okay, and then you have that reproducibility, so which is variation due to operator. And then what we are saying is the complete observed process variation could be divided into two parts, that is the actual variation and the measurement system variation. Then the measurement system variation, under the assumption that we have taken care of calibration, stability, and linearity, can further be divided into sigma square repeatability, sigma square reproducibility. So there are several studies that we need to do
सर
to, yeah.
सर लीनियरिटी क्यों क्रिएट होती है एक बार बताना इसका.
Okay, so linearity, I'll go back to the same example. आप ये देखिए एक स्पीडोमीटर है. So आप 0 to 100 में जब अगर आप मेजर कर रहे हैं तो आपकी ट्रू स्पीड्स को 1 to 2% ऊपर नीचे दिखाएगा ये स्पीडोमीटर. Okay, then you go from 100 to 190 range. Then जो ये वेरिएशन आ रहा है आपकी ट्रू प्रोसेस, जो टू आपकी ट्रू स्पीड है, उस ट्रू स्पीड से कितनी डिफरेंट आपकी स्पीड इंडिकेट कर रहा है स्पीडोमीटर, वो 2 to 4% हो जाएगा. ठीक है, टाइम के साथ आपके ये जो बायस हो रहा है वो इंक्रीज हो रहा है. As the speed is increasing, your bias is increasing. You can say when you're going into different speed ranges, your biasness, the systematic error is increasing. Okay, why does it happen? Just because there is too much strain on the springs, because the metal of the spring does not. अब आपने यंग्स मॉडुलस भी पढ़ा है, आपने स्ट्रेस स्ट्रेन कर्व भी पढ़ा है, तो उसमें वो भी लीनियर नहीं होता, राइट? आफ्टर सर्टेन रेंज, व्हाट डू यू कॉल दैट रेंज? हुक्स लॉ के बाद तो वो नॉन लीनियर भी बिहेव करता है. सो
प्लास्टिक
हाँ,
प्लास्टिक रीजन.
या इलास्टिक रीजन में, फिर वो प्लास्टिक रीजन में चला जाएगा अगर इसके ऊपर ज्यादा स्ट्रेन लगेगा तो उसमें इस तरीके का सिस्टमैटिक एरर भी ज्यादा हो सकता है because of that. So this is just one example that there for every situation there may be another this thing. Okay, so any doubts other than this in today's lecture? And so I've already summarized it anyway, but this is how we look at the complete lecture for today. Any doubts? So we are going to be doing some measurement.
Please explain the stability wala point once again.
Just a second. As I'm explaining again, just a second.